Okay. I've been asked a couple times. This is the wheel settings that I use on the G29. It's completely different than what a lot of other people take and use, but this is what I've found that I'm pretty comfortable with. First thing, options. Go to P1 controls. I do use the paddles to shift, so that's why it's on shift types paddle. There is only one gear, of course, but I use it because on the G29 there is no way to reset. So I use the paddles to shift in the reverse. I run my effects 40%. Impacts on. Centering spring is off. Steering dead zones should all be 0 on all your dead zones. Steering range 30. Sensitivity at 50. Brake range at 0. Throttle range at 0. Reason for that is if you hit the start button to go into test sensitivity, I don't know if it'll show on the screen, but I have full range of my throttle. If I give it just a little bit, you can see how it's coming up. If I go half, I'm about half. If I go 3/4, I can hold it 3/4. I have full range better on my throttle. Plus, if I mash it right off the bat, see how it takes a while to come up? That's what you want. It'll limit your wheel spin. Your brake, same thing. I have full range over the brake. I do run a load cell though on my G29 on the brake. I did change that out. So it's a little stiffer at first for me. It's kind of more like a real brake pedal. It has resistance in the middle. Stiff at the beginning, resistance, and then it frees up towards the end. But you can see I have full range. My steering, I steer basically, if you look at a clock, I have between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, so probably about 30 degrees each way. Same thing. You don't need much more steering than that. A lot of your setup on where the steering lock is set at will limit how far you can turn both ways. So I have about 30 degrees both ways of steering. And that's pretty much where I run a lot of my setups is 30 degrees wheel lock. Let's see. So that's everything on the first page. P2 controls, you're going to want to go where it says steering wheel. And you have wheel setup. This is set at 540. I set mine at 180. Then you want to hit X to accept. And you want to go back into P2 controls. Oops, I exited out. And make sure it's saved. It's at 180. I don't think it makes a difference. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't, but I think it's all dependent on your wheel. You can set it wherever, because my personal opinion is it's set for player 2 and nobody's playing on player 2, you're playing on player 1. Now, some other people have asked me what I have set as far as how I run my AI, everything else, so I'll go through that too. My difficulty preset is expert. Transmission is manual. I run the car identifiers with position and name for online, so I can kind of see who's wrecking me and who's not. No, no, I just like it on personally, personal preference. Car shake I don't like. Wheel-to-wheel contact, I run 0 online. I will turn it up if I'm running AI sometimes, just make it a little more realistic, but I wouldn't go much more than 20, especially if you're running sprint cars. Like I said, online, make sure the damn thing's at 0. I run my AI custom 105, which is legend basically. I run light damage. Race length, I usually run 100% or 200%. And again, that's why I kind of got my force feedback turned down to 40, is because if you're doing long races, your arms are going to get tired, especially if you do a lot of long consecutive hours. Like I can be on sometimes for 6, 7, 8 hours if I'm league racing or if I'm doing other stuff. I like my flags on, strict yellow, driving preset expert, no stability help, no driving assist, no wall avoidance. AI skill range. I did set these different because I run Legend AI, so this will kind of even the field out some. You'll have some slower cars in the back and faster guys will be up front. Stability I kept at 50, which is default, I believe. Recovery skill, I turned it down so you'll have a little more frequent AI crashes, which is a little more realistic. You'll get some yellows, especially if you're running like 100 or 200% race length. The consistency I turned down to 30. That will help a little bit if you're running Legend AI with, the cars will sometimes run fast laps, sometimes they'll get a little slower. It's more realistic to what you're going to get if you're racing online. Starting spread I didn't change, that's at 50. Incident frequencies at 50. Impact forces, I believe that's default at 0. Since I run Legend AI, some of the lap times that they get in qualifying are like, even if you're running custom setups like I do, they will blow you away in qualifying. I haven't found ways to get down that low on some tracks. Well, I guess it depends on the vehicle class, but late models, for example, they're running like 9.9s and they're running in the 9s at Fairbury, and the best I can do is a 10.3 with my custom. If I set it to easy qualifying, it puts the top time, I think, like a 10.2 or something like that. So makes it a little easier to be in the top 10 qualifying or so. More realistic to what you're going to get racing custom setups online. And then personal preference, I like my AI cars in practice at 0. So if I go out there and want to work on a setup or something, I have no other cars to worry about. I basically have a clean track. And then we went through the P1 controls, the P2 controls. Audio is personal preference. I don't race with any music, no race music, no finish music. My effects are at 100. My player car I did turn down. It's loud enough that I can hear it, especially if using a headset, but it's not overpowering loud. But I turned the AI cars up so I can hear like the AI cars, or if you're coming the path left or right, I can hear you coming up. So it gives me kind of an idea, especially using 3D headsets, where you're at. Since I race in-car view, I can't see you sometimes, especially if you're right beside me, but I can hear you. So I know whether or not I can push up harder or lift off so I don't smack you going through the corners. The skid and road noise, I have to run at 100%. I run butt kickers, and I use it for the extra noise. Plus, I believe if you're running the G923, I don't know if the game supports it or not, but the True Force audio will come through off your skid and road noise, your collisions. I like the announcer on. Some people you can turn that all the way down. The crowd, ambient, all that's preference. The menu interface, some people turn it all the way down. The wall reverb, same. I keep my treble and my bass at 50, even using the butt kicker. If I set it up too high, sometimes the butt kicker gets a little crazy as far as the rumble. That's everything there. Race format, yes, nothing to change, and all the legal mumbo jumbo. But that's basically what I run. feel free to give it a try. Like I said, I don't run the centering spring on. I personally like it off. To me, it's way too stiff with it on. I like to have the impact effects on. That way, when I get into the berm, I can feel it catch. The wheel gets a little tighter, like the centering spring is kind of on, but not as strong. I can feel it catch that berm, and then you wheel will free up some and become a little loose when you're sliding some. So you know if your wheel spinning or whatever. I get more feel out of the wheel. And these are my personal preferences, but people have asked me what I run. So I kind of decided to do a short little video so you guys can see. So that's basically it. So there you guys go.